Alrighty, viewers, today is the day we're debuting the wheel alignment machine. It's been here for 2 days. It was just installed, and I'm about to perform the first ever computerized wheel alignment from Hunter Engineering. Not sponsored, that's just the one I bought. Been using Hunter machines for 20 years. I don't really care for the other brands, so I went with what I like and what I know works well. So that's the machine we got. And I'm going to break it in, so to speak, with I got a Toyota Tundra outside. We had done some control arms on this thing, and we put in some locking like cam bolt adjusters on the unit. Let me squeeze past this F350 right here. Yeah, we put in some locking adjuster bolts at the bottom of the control arms so that they do not move when we're going off-roading or bajaing or four-wheeling. So this might be an interesting alignment to set up because the cams don't really turn very well, but hopefully I've got it all set up close enough where I won't have to do any camber Castor adjustments. I might just get away with a tow and go on this one at 245,471 miles on the odometer. Let's go ahead and get this guy nosed in up on the rack, starting the engine. And as we progress through this, I'll show you guys how the squeaking belt. I'll show you guys how the machine works, and we'll go through some of the scientific points on its theory and operation and whatnot. So stay tuned. This right here is going to be a very good first on the channel type of video. So I don't know how to describe it. The timing is either fortuitous or atrocious, one or the other. What I'm saying is I've had like 4 or 5 vehicles out for wheel alignments this week at other shops, and as soon as I get them all done and they've returned back to this shop, they finally got the alignment machine installed and set up. So I could have done them had I postponed the operation for a few days, but then I would have had more of a jam-packed parking lot than I already have, and that could have been an overflow type situation. Real quick, let me pop the hood on this. I'm hearing something clicking, ticking away in this Toyota. I think it's got a timing chain noise. Hello, train horn. Yeah, it's got some valve train noise of some sort going on here. You hear that? That's not bueno. That wasn't on my list of things to do, but we're going to talk about that later on with the consumer. Try to say customer and consumer at the same time. Didn't work out. Okay, all done messing around. Let's get this up on the rack and see how this procedure is going to play out over here. And somebody was saying in my comment land section that I'm running out of content because I kept talking about fuel trims and things of that nature on some Fords. Something some folks gotta understand here. I don't control what comes into the shop. I don't really pick and choose what comes into the shop. I try to model everything off like a kind of a normal retail type of stance. And because of that, if something comes in and the job has something to do with fuel trims, then well, it looks like that video is going to be about fuel trims now, isn't it? And actually the video in question wasn't even about fuel trims. It was about me starting up the Duramax and listening to the turbine sound. And then I was throwing a bunch of stuff into the scrap metal trailer after backing up the scrap metal trailer. And then I came inside and worked on a van for a little while. So sorry if it had a fuel trim problem, but like I said, I don't get to control what happens in here and the kind of work that comes in. I mean, I could have not made a video at all and that would have been probably okay, right? So what I was just doing, I got out because I wanted to eyeball the wheelbase on this. Yeah, this alignment's way off, but I didn't know the offset, and I wanted to make sure it was centered properly. Okay, so we're in. We just heard the rear wheels come up over the ramp. Now, normally This could be done in pairs, but since I'm gonna film it, I'll just do all the dirty work myself. Make sure that's nice and even. Now what we need to do here is get the center line of this tire over the center line of this turn plate, and we have to have the center line of the tire here over the center line of the turn plate. So the tire has to be in the middle of the turn plate. What this thing is, basically just this big floating plate and sitting on a bunch of ball bearings in there. So when we take things loose on the car and try to make adjustments, there's not a bunch of friction binding up the situation, causing a false measurement or a false reading. Now because of that, you got to have the pins in when you're coming on the turn plate or off the turn plate. Otherwise it'll slam this thing around and it'll break stuff inside, and then that would be bad. So draw an imaginary line, center line of the tire. We're offset ever so slightly. Let's kind of tug this out a little bit. Center line again. That looks good to me. Now we come over and do the other side. These are the details that make a good alignment, because anybody can hook the machine up and make adjustments and make the little bar graphs turn green, right? But you gotta make sure that you're set up properly and everything is not gonna cause an incorrect reading, so to speak. You know, things like fans blowing on the heads, that'll give you incorrect readings. Having binding on your turn plates, that'll give you incorrect readings. There's all kinds of stuff that can mess you up. Okay, now that that's all nice and centered like, let's go ahead and roll this thing on forward, and we'll stop it right here at the center line on the bridge turn plate. Okay, so now we can throw it in neutral because we're gonna have to move the car around, and we'll shut her down. Quick park and brake action real fast. Gotta throw some wheel chocks in here. There's one. And numero dos. So now it won't go anywhere. Let's go ahead and hit the button. We'll run this thing up in the air. About waist height or so. We have to be able to get in and out of the vehicle, so we can't go all the way up. We have to get under the vehicle too, so it can't be all the way down. Heavy truck. That's the locks. Locking mechanism. I'm thinking right about there is good. Let's set the machine down on the locks because it gets leveled. Machine has to be level. Okay. Now I can pull the parking brake off. Give that a push, release. Looks good, looks good. Okay, let's go fire up the computer and pull up the vehicle. See, we're gonna go begin alignment. Don't need any of that. We can skip that. T for Toyota. Tesla, how about that? I want to align a Tesla. Toyota, what is this? Tundra? Tacoma? Tundra. It's the cold version. Tundra. Where's Tundra? T100. Tacoma. Tercel. You remember those things?
When I bought my Toyota Tercel, I knew it was affordable. But until I started driving it, I didn't realize how affordable. Did you know that the average cost of mechanical maintenance on the Tercel is less than 25 cents a day? It costs more to park it than it does to drive it. I love what you do for me.
Tundra 4x4. There we go. I think it's a 2014. Let's go recheck one more time. Go to the door sticker. 6 of 14 is the build date, so that's a 2014. Look at here, they have different specs: 14, 15, 16, 17, etc. We're going to select 14, and we have a crew cab short box. That's a 6.5 foot bed, so I'm going to go crew cab. Double cab, No. And we got the 5.8 with off-road package. Well, it's lifted. It's got some big off-road tires. I'm gonna say with off-road package, why not? Got your warnings for the lawyers. And here's our specs. So we have camber, cross camber, that's the sum of the two camber angles. Left caster, right caster, cross caster, the sum of the two angles. And total toe. Now toe is your left and right. So you're turning your wheel, that's negative toe out from the center line. Positive toe is the wheel pointed towards the center line. Camber, the last time I spoke about camber and caster, you guys said I had it backwards. Maybe I did, and like there was some dyslexia in the brain or whatever, but camber is your lean angle of your tire and wheel assembly. So if it were to be leaned in from the top towards the center line, that's a negative camber. If we're leaning out away from the center line, that's a positive camber. Now caster angle, think of like a shopping cart wheel or a motorcycle wheel. And in order to understand caster angle, you have to understand where the pivot point of your wheel and tire assembly is. It's not necessarily in the middle. That would be a zero caster angle. So let's say the pivot point is, we got a pivot point at the ball joint, we've got a pivot point at the lower ball joint, right? So let's say that angle is leaned back slightly. So it's gonna take the center line of the wheel and put it rearward of the center line of the ball joint. And effectively a tire is swinging backwards, just like a shopping cart wheel. That's gonna be a negative camber. That's gonna be good for turning, not so great for straight line stability. For example, you're driving your shopping cart and you look at one of the front casters, caster, get it? You look at one of the front casters, here's an example. See how the pivot center line is forward, pretend that's the front, that's forward of the wheel center line. So that would be a negative camber. That's the front of the vehicle. Now if we had a motorcycle, and that's the front of the vehicle, you've got like this rake going on. So you've got the pivot point up here, but the center line is forward of that. That's gonna be a positive caster angle. I think I did get them backwards. That's a positive caster angle. So you have positive caster, negative caster, and that's referring to that being the front of the vehicle. So caster angle is just the difference, the angle that's measurable off of a 90 degree, the angle that's measurable between the center line of the wheel, the center line of the pivot point. Now, for example, on a motorcycle, that positive caster out front, that's great for straight line stability, not so great for turning. So if you want one thing, you have to give up something else. And if you want something else, you have to give up the one thing. So you can't have everything in both worlds. Toe has a similar function and camber has a similar function, but in different aspects with regards to their measurements. For example, a negative toe angle versus a positive toe angle. A positive toe is going to be more stable, it won't turn as easily. A negative toe will be unstable, but it turns very, very easily. So you can change these measurements based on the desired characteristics that you want. Now, the manufacturers, they do most of that for us based on the vehicle's build, the ride height, the tire selection, the options, the weight, build packages, etc. They come up with the most appropriate angles that it's going to be necessary for the vehicle. So now we understand what we're doing, why we're doing it. Let's go ahead and do it. Now with this machine, we've got a series of these little heads right here with those little reflective, I don't even know what you want to call reflective heads rather. Those are going to be picked up by those laser cameras up there in the tower. So what we need to do is mount these guys on the wheels in line of sight of the cameras. That way the cameras can see all four targets. Now this, I couldn't have picked a harder one. Look at that big bead protecting tire right there. That's gonna be kind of fun to get that on. So I'm gonna switch out these guys, little hooks right here, in order to get a better grip on that wheel. See how this one's kind of nubby, it's got that angle to it. This one's a little straighter on and has more reach, so we're gonna go with the straight on, more reach ones. I like that version better. Personal preference, some people like the other ones better, but I'm good with the long ones. I like them long. That didn't come out right, did it? It'll be fine. You guys know what I meant, right? Sure. Okay. So now we need to adjust this. If we turn this top screw thing, it's going to act on the threads inside of those brass bushings. It's going to change the spacing of these arms right here, and that's what we're going to use to set this up on the wheel itself. Okay, so the key here is to set this up so you don't knock the heads off and let them fall on the ground and break, because that costs extra money. And then you also got to make sure that you don't scratch up people's wheels. There are tire clamp versions of this where these clamp onto the tires. I despise those. I don't like them. I don't appreciate them. I don't think they're accurate, and they move around. So what I'm gonna do, get the little fingers set up, give it a push and a turn. A push and a turn, a push and a turn. And you have to kind of feel this out. You can't be wrenching on it because that's brass, like we talked about. And you can strip the brass out. So you just want to make it turn till it kind of stops wanting to turn. Then, you see that? What we need to do is make sure this is as vertical as possible. So we take that guy loose. See little arrows right there? We want those sort of pointed up and down as best as we can eyeball. They used to put like level bubbles in here, and they seem to quit doing that. I guess that was too many De Niro's. Just lock that down, and that head right there is good to go. Dave's over on the other side setting up those heads, so we'll get the this right rear going over here. There's little pictures on that to tell you where it goes. We'll set these ones up, and then we'll start the compensation process. You see, these heads are not squared, and they're not perfectly set up where they're straight to represent the true angles of the measurement. So what we have to do is compensate for that run out. The machine will do that automatically by taking a before and after picture of a measurement. So it's going to take the measurement with the heads as they are now. Then we're going to roll this vehicle backwards. It'll take another measurement, and using those two measurements, it can determine how off center or not straight these heads are in relation to the wheel. So we're basically just compensating for a known inaccuracy. Push that in, tighten it, push it in. Feels pretty good. Take her loose. It's tight. And that one's good to go. Next, onward. Okay, now it is time for rolling compensation. You remember we left the vehicle in neutral, parking brake is turned off. So, we're gonna come over here to the machine, and let's see if I remember how to do this. Okay, so we're now in the compensation screen. You see, we want to put the arrows in the little green guy, and the other little green guy is telling us to roll the car backwards. So it's already taken its first picture of the current position of these guys. Let's give her a push back. A little farther back, keep going back. Back it up, back it up, back it up. Hold it right there. A little bit more back. I need more back on the right front. There you go, hold it. It should be badass. There's our picture. Move it forward, but wait a second, I gotta move one turn plate. This one's not eyeballed correctly. Hey man, roll it back a little bit. I'm sitting on the bridge and I can't, there you go. Why are we stuck? There's some dirt in there. Some paint dirt. Painted dirt. Oh, that's not fitting. What is that? Hey, go back a little farther, man. I need to pull this plate out of here. We've got a design flaw going here. That's good. The paint is not letting this thing move around like I want it. Yeah, look at that. Tight squeeze, see that? It's not gonna slide. Okay, so those are clear. Bring it forward again, sir. I'll help you. And no, you cannot start the engine and drive it. That is a forbidden practice. Do not drive it on the alignment rack. Okay, Wow, our toe is so bad we have to compensate all over again. Look, total toe is 2 degrees. Steer ahead, that's your steering wheel angle. It's gonna want us to restart procedure because it is so far out of spec that the measurements are inaccurate. So we're gonna ignore this warning for right now. Yeah, look at that, 1 degree on this side. So that's 1.14 degrees pointed in, and this is 0.56 degrees pointed in. So the two front tires are pointed towards each other. So that means they're going to absolutely annihilate this outside layer of rubber right here on the edge. No bueno. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna go in there, make an adjustment real quick, get this closer to 0, and then restart procedure. All right, so we're here at the right front wheel. That's our outer tie rod, inner tie rod, steering gear's over there. The rest of the stuff's all suspension. We've got a jam nut right here. And that jam nut just simply locks the inner tie rod into the outer tie rod. So if we take this guy loose, we should be able to rotate this inner. It's threaded, so as we rotate it, it'll either lengthen or shorten the overall length, and that's what's going to give us our adjustment. So now I finally, after a couple years, get to bust out my angry pliers again. You guys have missed these. I don't get to use them often. I call them angry pliers because I tend to get these out when it's time to stop asking and start making, hence anger. Anyway, take that guy loose. Now you saw it was turning the inner tie rod with it. It's kind of not really a huge deal. So we put that on there to hang on to the jam nut. Then we'll take the parrot jaw pliers. They're curvy, designed to get a hold of things that are also curvy. And we have too much positive toe, so it's pointed inward, so we need to lengthen this. So we're gonna take that guy loose. In fact, here, I'll take this off. See how the jam nut, see the space in there? As we turn this, way too far? That's fine. I hear a diesel. I hear a diesel pulling up outside. Who's that?
Express Towing and Transport.
Express Towing. What do they got? I bet that's the van. See if that's a Chrysler minivan out there.
Oh, there's something on the back.
So anyway, yeah, a little one or a big one?
Little one.
Little one. All right.
Very good.
Yep. Okay, that jam nut's not wanting to go anywhere. It's jammed in there pretty good. Come on, you. Now I did not take the pins out of the turn plates. The astute amongst you would have noticed that. Like I said, we have to redo this all over again because the adjustment was way too far out. I think, according to my measurement screen, that's 0.25 positive on that side. That should be sufficient for now. Let me take the slop out of it. It's probably going positive again, but we're fine. Yeah, positive 0.3. Yeah, it's whatever. Okay, let's go over. That right there should be good to get a good measurement out of it. Why are we giving it 1 degree total toe? 0.456. This does not add up. Total toe should be the sum of left and right toe. That's
time out. Don't you get total toe when you do the fucking... Don't you get total toe when you do the wheel sweep?
Castor is for the sweep. Yeah, we haven't even gotten to taking a Castor measurement yet because toe is so far off. It automatically said, hey,
But wind toe isn't gonna have you turn it and...
I don't do wind toe.
Oh.
No, wind toe is the, hey, it's your first day, right? Here, do alignments. Just use wind toe. I don't do wind toe. No. If I try to do wind toe, they're wrong. I can only do them this way, the old school way. I can't do bar graphs. I can't do any little pictures. I gotta have the measurements. I see the matrix, not pictures and, you know, all that crap. So wind toe is out for me. Anyway, we're close enough, I think. Let's go ahead and escape all this and restart. So begin alignment. It should have my old spec still pulled up. Yes, I do. Tundra, there we go. Crew cab, that. Lawyer stuff, yep. Measurements and adjustments. Right back to where we started from. So let's roll it back and do compensation one more time. Okay, there's our picture. we're good. Bring it forward. So that was a pre-adjustment measurement. I got you, bro. Okay, lock this in. Measurement complete. All right, so we had no warning message, right? So now we have to take our Castor measurement. Castor is a calculated measurement. It's not a measured measurement, or at least not from this plane of view on those heads over there. So what we do, we're gonna select K4, that's measure Castor, and we're gonna follow directions. It wants us to raise the vehicle, go inside, lock the brake pedal in position, then we turn the wheel. As the wheels turn, it'll capture another picture of the angle from the turn, and then we turn it back to the right side, and it'll take another picture, and that's going to give us our Castor sweep measurements. But we've got to get rid of the internalized frictions. So we pull the bridges out, and let's pull the pins. Get rid of that bridge right there. Beautimous. I need to get you a brake pedal depressor. Throw it in park, put the parking brake on if you would, sir. We have to have the brake pedal locked in as well, because if the wheels were to rotate while we're doing the adjustment, then it will give us an inaccurate reading, and that would be bad. Okay. So like a caulk gun, but different. Climbing time. Now normally, the brake pedal is going to get locked in against the seat because you can't do it on the steering wheel. This is a steering wheel style locker, so I've got to figure out some way to make it work against the seat. I think I gotta do it without tearing the seat also. We don't want to tear seats, that would be bad. I know it's kind of dark, but that should do it. We'll crank her down, give us some brake pedal pressure, not tearing the seat, and park. That's good. So let's come over here, start the engine for power steering assist. Standing on this, turn our wheel and follow the targets. Still turning, there we go. Getting some action. We have to capture one target at a time, it looks like. And a little bit farther to the left, too far to the left. There we go. Capture, please. Okay, now it wants us to turn to the right. So steering wheel off to the right. Actual wheels moving to the right. And our targets are following. Left target's good. And right target. Come on. There we go. So now, we're gonna center the wheel again. We're gonna center this visually. Now, some people put steering wheel locks in these. In fact, most people will put a steering wheel lock in these. I do not put a steering wheel lock in mine because I use the numbers, not the pictures, and I can do math in my head. Let's take some slop out of everything in case there's any binding. Looking good, that's vertical to my eyeballs. Half degree that way. I find a reference point and then I follow that to another reference point, in which case I'm eyeballing the space between here and here and here and here. That space looks the same, so we're good. Shut her down. And now we can start making some adjustments. Woo! What I think? Oh! Okay, so let's see what we have to work with over here. Camber and Castor on the right front is fantastic. Castor on the left front is 50% higher than the right front. That's going to generate a pull. And we're about 0.3 degrees too far negative on our camber. So we need to make this wheel come out this way some. And we need some negative Castor out of it, which means it has to come out and then the bottom needs to go backwards. That's going to give us that correct angle. So that's a lot of toe right there though. Let me run down this toe a little bit, because if that's so dramatic of an angle, 1 degree, that could actually be affecting our camber measurement. It's not going to affect the Castor measurement because that's calculated, but it could affect that negative camber right there. So let's change this toe real quick some and see what happens to camber on the left front there. Okay, same procedure. Angry pliers coming in here. I'm gonna break this jam nut loose. Little clickage there. And we need some negative toe on this one, so we're going to unthread this and make it longer, holding the jam nut with the angry pliers. So far so good. A little more. All right, well, I was not correct about camber angle changing. It didn't really do much. So now let's go ahead and work on, oh look, it's in spec. Remember what I said earlier about being green? That is wrong. That's 1000% wrong, but the numbers say that it's right. That it's not, that's why we don't do green. We base this off measurements, and that is all. All right, so let's strategize here based on what we know. We need to bring this number down 50%. We need to bring that number up slightly to match that side. We want these two to match close. I mean, technically they're in spec and it would probably be fine, but it would have a pull to one direction because we've got this Castor split right here, cross Castor. That's out of range. So in order to do that, the adjustments are going to be back here on the lower control arm. Usually you'll find camber Castor adjustments, if they exist, on the uppers, but this one doesn't have them on the uppers. They're on the lowers. So in order to get negative camber out of it and negative Castor, we have to consider the placement of where this ball joint right here sits. See that guy right there? So if we want to adjust Castor negative, that means we need to get, we're looking for shopping cart, right? So in order to get shopping cart, we need to get this ball joint to come backwards some. That's going to give us more negative Castor. And we also need to get some positive camber. And since we're dealing with the vertical center line, we need to bring this ball joint inwards some as well. So if we go back to geometry over here, shapes and colors, what do we have here with this lower control arm? We have a triangle. We got one corner, two corners, three corners. We want this triangle to come this way and then towards us. So if I were to adjust this adjuster right here, that guy, and I bring this center line of this bolt in towards the center line of the car, that's going to bring this control arm back this way some because we've shortened this length right here. And it's also going to have to swing it back this way some because, again, we've shortened this length right here. So I think we can get away with just a single measurement change on this control arm. So let's get this nut loose. Now, normally these types of adjusters are like a circular cam. These things have these hexagonal locker things in there, so I'm really not certain how I'm supposed to get this to adjust. I've never made adjustments on such things like this before. I need wrenches. Hey Aaron, can you grab me some 24 millimeter wrenches, please? I need to wrench on this, not with pliers. Thank you, sir, much appreciated. I'll take 2 of them if you got them. Yeah, see, it's just spinning. It's just spinning the bolt. You set them down right there. I'll get them in a minute. Thank you. I think what I need to do is get the jacks out, get this thing off the ground, take all the pressure off of this joint, adjust it, and then set it back down. This is extra fun. Yeah, let me roll myself down here. We're gonna get this trolley jack. Hey, yo. Is it 25? Ooh, is it 25? No, it's probably 27, and it's not that one either, not a 32. Fail. Get some spacer action going here. Got an air line right here from the compressor. These are air over hydraulic jacks right here. Just push the little button. Probably need more spacer. It does have a lift kit after all, right? Probably pretty good. Tires off the ground. Beautiful. Okay, so we need to adjust this and turn some things. I'm not certain how this is going to work, so bear with me as I fumble my way through this. Thank you for the Knipexes. Aaron's just running over there, just grabbing every tool in sight. Bring them all! Okay, I need a little pry bar. Got a little mini pry bar somewhere? Yeah, thank you, sir. Pry hammer. Let's take that a little more looser. The bolt does not engage on these cams. They just kind of sit in there. Get rid of that guy. Okay, and the same thing on the other side. Okay. All right, we're gonna try something here because I can't pry bar this over and I can't turn the bolt to make it come over because the bolts are just free floating on these little cam locker things, right? So basically we have to just set the position. We're gonna move from this position over to this that position. Now you see there's a big slot right here hanging out in the subframe or the frame or whatever. That allows me to have some space for that bolt to fit. So we need to make this control arm come over and then lock it in with these guys. Now, like I said, it's the same on both sides right here, but this one doesn't do anything. So turning that bolt all day will be kind of pointless. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna try to set it down, put the weight on it, and maybe it'll push this back over and we can set it up properly from there. But let's find out. So we'll take our locks to release. Hey, reach over and hold that for me. Just hold it right there. We'll let this down some. And that's not very effective. It's not moving. Okay, well the truck's got all the weight now, so let's put a come along or a ratchet strap on it and try to pull it over. Okay, business end of a ratchet strap. Hook that into there. And we'll take the other end and just hook it up right over here. Actually, how about there to the frame? That way we're not acting on the other control arm. So then, all I need to be doing is I'm gonna ratchet this guy up. A little bit more. See that? Oh, might need 2 ratchet straps. Yeah, a little bit more. Unfortunately, I also might need to move this front one as well. I'm thinking one more click. Let's do one more click, see what happens. I want to get those camber angles even. There we go. See that? Now we're about centered. Camber looks a lot better. We won't know about Castor until we do another Castor sweep with the steering wheel. But I think that this configuration might have us set up just right. So here, let me make sure this guy's in this position as well. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, let's lock it down and then we'll remeasure again.
Where is my hammer?
There it is. Tightish enough. So let's release the strap. So far so good, I think. Nothing really moved and fell apart. And let's take a look at our measurements so far. Camber is like dead on, but we need to remeasure for that Castor sweep. So we're gonna hit K4. That's that button. and we do the sweepy thing one more time. It did, we got it. That ratchet strap worked. Okay, back inside. Our steering wheel moved, but that's to be expected, no worries. Starting the engine. Recenter it according to the machine. Yeah, when we go to do the toe adjustment, I'll tell you why I don't use steering wheel locks. Right now I'm kind of focusing on getting this hard measurement done. Okay, right target, left target, ping, stay on target, turning to the right. There's always a couple second delay between your actual inputs and what the computer says, so we have to be mindful of that. Don't go too fast. There. And recenter it according to the computer's graph right there. All right, so let's visualize a recentered steering wheel. Wiggle it to pull any slop out of the suspension parts that might be there, or binding, not slop. We're gonna wiggle it to center and shut her down. Ruh-roh. How are we looking? Ha ha ha. Mint. Uh-oh, I'm in the way. My big noggin's in the way. Check that business out. You can't pay money to get it any more perfect than that. That is like dialed right in, even and even. This thing's gonna go straight, parallel, or tires are parallel to each other and perpendicular to the ground. It's gonna go straight down the road. This is perfect. So let's go back into our specs. That's not where I want to be. Cancel that. I want to find vehicle specifications. That's K4. 2.43 or 2.43 degrees, 0.13, and then total toe is 0.14. So we're looking for 0.07 and 0.07 on each side. I'm going to do 5 and 5 because I like 5 and 5. So we just need to adjust these guys up ever so slightly. Now this is where my steering wheel lock comes into play. I know we've got 10 and 2, right? We want 5 and 5. So I'm gonna adjust this down to 5. And if this 2 changes, I'm just gonna put it back when I go to start that next one. I'm gonna keep that at 2 because I know that the steering wheel is straight and I know that that's where the measurements landed. So if I change this one and that one doesn't change, then my steering wheel didn't change. If I change this one and that one did move, I just have to move it back. And then once I move it back, then I know that my steering wheel is right back where it's supposed to be. That takes into account that there is no loose steering parts. If there's loose steering parts, this whole theory just gets shot right out of the window and it can't be done. So going back down below, let's get rid of the ratchet strap tool. We don't need this guy here anymore. Pull you out, and the box fell over. Let's make an adjustment real quick and then we'll do the other side. So what we saw from the screen, this was negative 0.10 and we're looking for positive 0.05, right? So all we have to do is just shorten this tie rod by tightening it ever so slightly. 0.09. Running into friction with that jam nut, so let me just kind of crack that guy loose again. It's bottomed out, which is good because that means it's taking up any slack in the threads. We want that nut touching the tie rod. That make sense? If it doesn't make sense, just ask me about it in the comment section. So we're bringing it in 0.08 now, 0.07, 0.06. This is on the negative side, so we're about to cross the center line of the tire. So now we're pointing away from the center line of the vehicle. We have just reached 0, and we're now bringing this tire and wheel assembly towards the center line of the vehicle. All right, swing back around, check our monitor. That went down to 0.01. That's a minuscule measurement. We're 0.04 over here on that side. That's perfect, right where we want it. So let us lock down the jam nut on our right front, and this one right here will be good to go. Get in there, lock it down. Did you guys see how that tie rod turned when the jam nut acted on it? that changed the length a little bit. So we'll go back in and just kind of get that just a little bit of a, see that? We're fighting the friction of the jam nut. And we're at 0.04, 0.02-ish. Yeah, there it is too. So that's good. Let's put final torque on the big nut, and then we can go ahead and move over to the passenger side. Final torque, that's it. And once final torque came up, we were bouncing right off of 5, almost at 5. Now look, see how we're at 1 and 2? Nearly perfect. If I bump that out to the 2 where we started, it should. Yep, there it is. There's our 5. That's close enough. Beautiful. So let's bring that other side positive past the center line towards the middle of the vehicle. And this thing is, it's all set. We're done. Let's just try something here. Remember, we need to bring this tire in towards the middle. We're on the right front, so we just have to shorten this just a wee bit. That was not enough of a wee bit. And I made that jam nut tight, so we're kind of starting over. Unclick. .01, almost there, a little bit more. That might be it. Okay, let's see where we're landing over here. 5 and 6. Now we were favoring 4 on that left front toe. So let me just straighten out the steering wheel real quick. We'll bump that down to 4 for a comfortable 5. Now, these are tenths of a degree at this point, hundredths of a degree. A couple more bumps. There's my 5. There we go. There's our 4. And back to 5. So that's where we started, right on the cusp of 4 and 5. This one's over here at 6. We're in spec. We're good. This is done. That's a completed perfect wheel alignment. Absolutely magnificent. What do you think?
Please, if you get an alignment, don't go take your vehicle for a road test with these things on.
Yeah, don't do that.
Take them off.
No, rephrase. Alignment guys, take your heads off before you back your car out. It's not the customer's responsibility to take the machine off the car.
This is not rated for 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, but they'll go 50. If you put them on good enough, they'll go 50 for sure. That's locked in. We're 5 and 6 respectively. These numbers, this setup's absolutely brilliant. All done. Okay, now let's see if my alignment printer prints. See, there's a thing with alignment machines. The printers never seem to work. Because when you ask for a printout, you can't get one. Print summary, print vehicle. There we go. No, not that one. I want summary before and after. So we'll cancel the escape. We don't want to escape. Cancel the print. There we go. Now, go back to print. Print summary. Man, whatever. Good enough. Let's print everything out. So we'll have a before printout and an after printout. If I wanted one that was colors with graphs on it, I have to manually print the screen on the before and then print the after. I know that now, so next time I'll do better. And it's not printing.
I don't think you hit print, man.
Did I? I thought I did. Yeah, try it again. Print summary. Oh wait, now it's printing. Whoa, yeah, see that? I moved through the matrix. Okay, yep. I didn't save before measurements, that was my bad, but I have video documentation that what the measurements were, so yeah, I'll be fine with that. Anyway, so now we can exit and leave, do not save anything, reset back to square one again, and we've just got to take the heads off the vehicle, hang them back up on the machine. Now the most important part here is to make sure, get that off of there, all 4 of these little fingers stay with your head and not with the wheel. So these things can pop off, and if the bead was real tight on the wheel, they will, excuse me, they will stay kind of stuck in there, and then you won't know it until you got to do your next alignment. And guess what? You can't, because your little finger flangey things are gone. And that is super duper bad. How do these hang? Sideways? Oh, that's new. They hang these ones sideways. Oh. Yeah, look. They usually used to hang them vertically. Not anymore. I feel like they got Dave too. He's all like, huh? They're supposed to hang from here.
Oh, I didn't want to hang it that way because it get all dust.
I tell you what, we're just gonna unbolt those and hang them up on here. We can do that.
There you go.
I like it over there better. So let's see, that's all done. We're not gonna get the pins back in, so what we do is put the bridges up. Actually, I can probably squeeze that one in, turn that thing some. Now, I did just make the steering wheel turn to the left, so when we get back in, you guys see that the steering wheel's not straight. That's because I just moved it. Let's go back to the right. Push this over. That one's not gonna go in, I don't think. Oh, there we go, got it. I shoulder checked it. This other side, not a chance. There was too much angle changing here. Okay, so in order to get the pins in that plate, we need to roll the truck back some. So if we're gonna roll the truck back, climbing back in, parking brake off, regular brake off. Someone grab that. Thank you, good man. Much appreciated. And even with all me shoulder checking the wheels, we have a centered steering wheel. Key on, neutral. Let's roll it back. Good. Whee! Stick them in there. Stick it in that hole right there. Wiggle it some. Eudemus. All right. Now we can let the rack down. We're good to go. Now, 99.9999999% of the time, you gotta test drive these before giving them back to the customer. We're gonna do that, but I'm not gonna film it. There's no reason to. So that being said, we're gonna go ahead and close this video out. And we'll do such things as always by thanking you guys for watching this video. Let me know what you think about this procedure, this vehicle, this alignment machine, and all the wealth of knowledge that we have bestowed upon you today in the comment section down below. Do not forget to engage that like and subscribe button while you're down there. And most importantly, have yourselves a fantastic day. See you guys later in a video, in a day. Goodbye. In a transmission. Party over.